all NHS healthcare environment inspections and the vast majority of NHS Scotland committees contain members of the public. These members of the public are appointed and trained by Healthcare Improvement Scotland after an open selection process, not every year but from time to time, and the SMC has 3 of these public partners who are appointed for a 3-year term each. We are full members of the SMC committee, and just as all the other full members, we consider all the evidence that is being provided by the pharmaceutical companies, by clinicians, by patient groups, and we try and come to a decision based on all of this evidence as to what represents the best interests of all the NHS patients in Scotland. Now, the second important part of our role is to take these patient group submissions. For every medicine, SMC invites interested patient groups to submit their views about the benefits of a particular medicine. And then the public partners take the evidence that has been submitted and try and distill it down into a summary which best presents that case at the full SMC committee meeting. The full papers that the patient groups submit are bound into the papers that all SMC committee members receive and read, and so that the full presentations are there, but the summary is really important for presenting the really key points to the committee. SMC considers the clinical evidence, the economic evidence, evidence presented by patient groups. It considers what other medicines might be available for a particular condition, and it considers what represents best value for money for the patients of NHS in Scotland. There's no simple formula that helps us make these decisions. We've got to consider this evidence and what represents the best way forward for patients in Scotland for any particular medicine, taking all these factors into consideration. When I vote, it's as a SMC committee member, it's as a member of the public, and it's as a patient within Scotland. We want to consider what is best for the totality of patients in Scotland. Of course, we want to make beneficial medicines available as much as possible, but we have to take all these factors that I mentioned earlier into account. Making decisions about medicines that patients really want is never going to be easy, and particularly so when you think about the very awful nature of some of the conditions we're considering. SMC committee members make a decision which is based on the evidence, on value for money, and what is best for patients in Scotland as a whole. Unfortunately, the NHS in Scotland simply cannot afford all medicines. I was looking for something to do when I retired, but something which was of significance and something which would keep me engaged. And when I became a public partner for Healthcare Improvement Scotland, I realised that this was very, very interesting, but not quite totally satisfying until I learned about SMC and the opportunity to use my scientific background to do something which is really hard work but really, really rewarding. It is just a real pleasure for me. I'm delighted the opportunity arose.